Solomon, you're an impartial. Well, don't be impartial. No, I'm just thinking you're not as well. You anyway. I'm making assumptions now. This is gonna ruin me. Okay, never mind. Solomon.
No,
No,
make
okay.
partials. Make
I
make
will cut
assumptions.
that out. Okay.
Make assumptions, please.
What do you think? Has we finally seen the WoW killer? And with Endwalker coming out, it will just dwarf whatever Blizzard has done.
Ah, man, where to go with this one? I think okay. So without trying to talk your ear off, I'll try to make it short and concise. One, I'll first start with the sort of the broad general cultural, I guess you could say, answer that I have in mind. If you look at some of the recent popular memes that's been coming out on social media, you'll see the one of the more popular ones is like you see the character designs from one from Japanese companies and the other one from American companies. And it's usually comparing like the how sexy or how amazing like a particular character looks. And the Japanese characters tend to look a lot more eye appealing, easier to look at, more just lots of color saturation, a lot of design, a lot of sexiness, a lot of things that make a video game more appealing. And then on the other hand, you look at an American design and it's just like they kind of go for a more realistic approach, but that doesn't necessarily always translate to appealing. It kind of just seems like a little bland, a little meh. No matter how much texture or no matter how much detail you put into the character. And going to comic books, for example, you see now manga has been more popular than ever, and even surpassing the American comic book industry in terms of sales, in terms of popularity, in terms of the amount of attention it's been receiving. Why? Almost for the same reasons. Japanese characters look amazing. They're easy on the eyes. They're just a lot more there that people are looking for. Whereas an American, man, how do I explain this without getting too political? They tend to design their characters in a way such that
more diverse.
Yeah, let's put it that way. And there is a market for that.
Trope. Yeah,
there is a market for that, but I don't think it's the majority. I think it's just a lot of people making a lot of noise to make it seem like there's a lot of people that demand for this type of stuff, when in reality it's just a lot of noise. So I think that's why, again, going back to the examples that I set up, and again, they'll say like causation doesn't lead to no, what's the term? Anyways, and so I'm not saying that given those two, I guess you could even say anecdotal evidences, the reason why Final Fantasy XIV is more popular than World of Warcraft.
Causation with correlation.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now I'm not saying that this is. I'm not saying that's probably the case. That I'm just putting two different or three different examples and just kind of putting them together as evidence. And that's a completely valid criticism, but it's still very difficult to ignore the fact that you've been seeing the popularity of foreign games and foreign media and particularly from Japan, getting more popular than the American counterparts. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that American, dare I say, products in terms of the pop culture, media, video game industry just really hasn't been cranking out fantastic things because, again, of political reasons. Again, that's not necessarily a political statement of in itself. Like, I could care less if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever, I could care less where you line up politically. Vote for Trump, vote for Biden, I don't care. Like, I'll still be friends with you regardless. And even then, that's controversial, apparently. But yeah, I think we see a trend of people just being absolutely done with Western.
I hadn't thought about that.
What do you call it? Western.
Yeah, I get that. It's like a pendulum swing. It's like one like feel like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna go over here. Okay,
right.
You're gonna go there. I'm going over here. Okay.
And typically in Japanese culture, they're not as politically as correct as Western societies are, and so to answer your question after that really long-winded explanation, I think this is a trend that's going to get even more popular because of that. I think Final Fantasy XIV, a part of me wants to say it's just a fad right now. There is a side of me that says, "Oh, it's going to be popular for maybe about a year, but it'll go back down." But the evidence seemed to suggest, and again, the evidence that I just explained seemed to suggest that no, it's actually probably not going to be a trend or just a fad, that and that unless Blizzard decides to do something
Right.
completely drastic and be like, hey, we need to go back to go back to basics, go back to the core of things, what made WoW special in the first place. I see them hemorrhaging more subscribers and players, and I don't think another Wrath of the Lich King on Classic is going to help repair that, to be completely honest with you.
No, well said. That's a very good point. That maybe Final Fantasy XIV isn't the WoW killer on its own, but because of where we are today in 2021, everything that's happened, it's like benefiting from this, benefiting from Blizzard screwing up or making some mistakes, benefiting from
Hmm.
things that are happening out in the culture today, benefiting from a lot of different things. And people are like, I'm tired, and want something new. Even though Final Fantasy 14 has been out for a number of years, for some people it's brand new. Like good example, our friend Got Fuzz, who's like, they didn't play it. He's a WoW guy. I love playing WoW. And he's like, what? You never played Final Fantasy 14? Been around for a while, dude.